Hey there, Earthlings. Thanks for tuning in to the Barardo Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Barardo, where we talk about health, happiness, and anything else that's important to us humans. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast by visiting thebarardo.com or just click the little subscribe button wherever you listen to the podcast. And be sure to check out my Instagram at thebarardo for all the latest videos and content. Thanks so much and enjoy the episode.
You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Most episodes I like to have a lot of fun. We try to give you some content about health, wellness, and just overall have good conversations with some strangers and some of my friends, preferably experts in various different fields. We've had comedians on, we've had influencers on. I've had a ton of people on, and I have a lot of plans for the future. Today is kind of a fun one because it's right up my alley. Super passionate about this topic. I think you guys will get a lot of value out of this, even if you're not into it as much as I. But I have Jakobie Baker that's going to be hopping on the show. Jakobie is an entrepreneur, young kid. I met him up north in an event that I did. I was just really motivated by his content, and obviously he's in ridiculously crazy shape for his age. Again, 21 years old. Now, of course, he's doing tons of stuff. After the pandemic, he saw some opportunity doing some private coaching, and I want to get his opinion a little bit on training, health, wellness, eating. We also talk a lot about social media. Us as humans, we fall into this habit of listening to social media, maybe too much. So we talk a lot about that, but overall, really good dude, very intelligent, and again, entrepreneur. I'll leave his links in the description. I recommend you check him out. A lot of motivational stuff on his Instagram. But before we get into that, of course, I do want to thank our sponsors. So this episode is brought to you by Public Goods. Guys and gals, Public Goods literally is a one-stop shop for everything you need. Now they actually just came out with some ceramic dishwasher and oven-safe plates, glasses, cups, and even silverware. But they also have tons of other stuff that you're going to use anyway. Paper products, toilet paper, canned goods, pantry staples that you normally have like pasta, sauces, soups, you name it, they got it. Publicgoods.com has everything you need, and with their subscription model, they make everything super easy and affordable to you. They'll ship everything to your house at one low price each time you shop. So it's all inclusive with tons of great products that you're gonna buy anyway, but now you don't have to worry about going to the store and buying that artificial crap that we typically buy. The sustainable and beautiful packaging that they have is great for the environment. It's great for our bodies. Visit publicgoods.com. Use the code TonyPGA. You're going to get a discount on each purchase, and you could do that again at publicgoods.com. So thank you, Public Goods. We appreciate you. And of course, next up, we cannot forget about our friends at Superfat. If you heard me talk about them once, you heard me talk about them 1,000 times. Superfat.com now has tons of other great products for baking. They have that available. And what's cool about Superfat is they actually even have recipes that they post on their social media. So if you're looking at all this stuff, you're like, it's a little overwhelming. I don't know if I can use any of this stuff like the keto cookie bites or the nut butters. What am I going to use that for? Well, they will post all types of stuff. They have a cool blog where you could follow all types of recipes. And of course, if you follow me at the Barardo on Instagram, I like to post stuff all the time from Superfat because they have so many great healthy alternatives to the stuff that we love to have, like nut butters. They have tons of flavors of nut butters, even now in a 10-ounce jar. I recommend you check out superfat.com. If you want a 10% discount, just use the code Barardo10 at checkout, and you will get 10% off your entire order. Again, superfat.com. Use the code Barardo10. But without further ado, I do want to sit down and talk some health, fitness, and overall, let's all get healthier together, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Jakobie Baker. It's always cool to see because I come from the personal training world, right? So I think we talked about this when I was up in Jacksonville, where I was in the box chain gyms, the LA Fitness, and back in the day it was a little bit different because there's a third party company that came in, so I got certified through whatever I wanted to get certified through, and they hired me that way. But Now I think LA Fitness and like, I don't think there's any golds left, but other big box chain stores, they require you to do like their personal training, which really, I don't want to speak ill will if there's anybody listening that works at those places as a trainer, but more often than not, it's like an online bullshit certification. And
It is.
yeah, but
See, and I got my NASM certification.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah.
So that's the certification I got. But it's crazy, man, because you actually, if unless you want to work in those gyms, in my NASM book, it says this certification is not required to be a personal trainer.
Really?
Kid you not.
You don't need the certification. Is that a state thing or is that just a certification thing?
It's honestly more of a it saves when you go to those big box gyms. It saves them from having to pay for you to get certified through them.
That makes sense.
And they have to have that you're certified for them. Because if let's say I just open up a business, right? And I get my LLC and it's for personal training.
Right.
At that point, I have an LLC.
Right.
What does certification do?
Yeah, you're right. Well, and that's the other thing too. I didn't think about that, but when I was certified, this was going back. I think I was like 19 or 20 at the time. I just turned 36. So, I mean, for me, the certification I had, I don't know about yours, but every 4 years, typically they want you to renew it. And a lot of it, and a lot of that has to do with they obviously want more money, which totally makes sense. But especially. I was talking about this with a buddy because I'm kind of working on a planning program for him that I don't charge people for it, but it's just like my neighbor. He's type 2 diabetic. He wants to get in shape, and I kind of gave him a recommendation. But when I was training, I always used to say, "Listen, I'm certified. I'm going to train you, but outside these four walls, after an hour and a half, you're on your own. So I can't be held accountable for what you do on your own." I always recommended them to, get blood work and go see a physician and a doctor and a nutritionist if you want. I could write you out a plan according to what I know, but aside from like, and aside from like doing your BMI, your body fat, your blood work, looking at a scan and making sure. Yeah, dude, there's so many moving parts, and I think we're getting so much more intelligent, which is great. But a big reason I wanted to have you on was. Because I get so many people that reach out to me because my podcast is a lot about health and wellness and, I'm vegan. I've been vegan for a while, but everyone asks me, they're like, "Hey man, I should go vegan." I go, "What makes you say that?" Well, I hear, this is bad for you and this is bad for you. I go, careful. You hear things are bad for you. I'm vegan, but I don't preach people to be vegan because vegan just works for me because of my health condition that I have. But, like my wife, for example, she is having issues with vitamin D deficiency. So she can't be vegan. She has to eat some eggs and some fish, and she has to get a lot more vitamins than me. Yeah. So I'm even telling her not to do it. And it's almost like we let social media and we let these influencers that don't really, and you probably see it more than I do because you're in the industry now, but back when I was a trainer, bro, it wasn't like I had people coming in and those people that came in asked me for advice and I didn't have to worry about shit. Like there was no influencer on TikTok saying, "Hey, you should do it this way." And then they're like, "Wait, I'm paying Tony to do this. Forget this guy. I'm going to listen to the guy on TikTok for free." So like, are you dealing with that a little bit from like clients and folks that you deal with?
Yeah, man. And actually I didn't notice it at first until man, my first 2 years of training, I honestly didn't notice it. It took for me to, because I actually, when I started training in the park, I said I had to go, stop training in the park, and things were just getting too rough. I actually stopped training for a little bit. So in that time, I actually took the time to study and really like watch social media, see how easily people were influenced. I tried different things to see what got people's attention, because that was a big time for me. I was like, I'm gonna sit back and just study my all my followers. I'm gonna follow them. Yeah, I'm gonna study my crowd. I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna put things out and see what they respond to. And so like with that, I started trying all, like people probably look at me like,
Right.
this man is trying anything. So, and now I try to, like, when I say I was just putting stuff out to see what people were biting at and what the influence were. And so like when I started back training, it was different because people would come to me, hey, well, what do you think about this diet? Or like you said,
Right.
they would come to me and I would ask polls. That was a big thing for me. Polls. I would do polls on Instagram.
Right.
To gain really knowledge of people, because they will answer if you do like a series of polls. Like you can literally just
People
like
answer,
10
yeah.
questions. Yeah, people will answer. Or if they don't answer the first time, they'll see people answer. They'll go back and they'll answer them.
That's right.
So like I kept using I used that strategy,
Nice.
and man,
A lot of opinions out there, Jakobie.
it's a lot of opinions, man. 'Cause I just tell people, to do what works for them. Don't necessarily follow a crowd. Don't follow this certain training type, because
Yeah.
that's what I get a lot of. Hey man, I've been training like this for so long. I've been following this person. What can I do to build muscle or build this? And it's like I've heard, and they this thing they ask me the question, but then they follow it. I heard.
Right.
So
Always.
it's like they come to you for advice and they come to you, for your knowledge, but they already have their answer in their head.
Right.
So it's a little tricky to deal with, because now you have to use your confidence and your knowledge to basically tell them like, hey, if you're gonna, like, literally got to kind of hide it in there. Like, if you're gonna come to me, this is what I'm gonna tell you, and this is the knowledge and value that I can give to you. I'm not here. I can't speak for anyone else.
Yeah,
I
take
can
it or
only
leave
tell
it
you
type of thing.
Yeah, type of thing. And when you're like, that raw with people, they tend to like, okay, I'm gonna go with this guy.
That's right.
And just like replying, really, like people.
Yeah.
You know how many DMs are sent a day, and people don't reply.
Oh yeah, dude.
So when you reply to all, I'm not gonna say all. I try to get to all, but when you reply to every DM, like, hey, what's up, and you treat everybody the same, and people see that in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
different.
They tend to, they tend to go to those people more, because they can they can have, like, there are a lot of influencers, and I know a lot of big influencers on social media, and they're getting people in, but they're not building relationships with those people.
Yeah,
And
it's just they're following that cookie cutter program, like there's a couple in particular that I won't mention, but I mean they're hardcore, man. 300, 400,000 followers, and every 2 days it's, hey, swipe up to check out my meal plan and and I go to the workout routine and I'm like, hold on, wait a second. So I have Crohn's disease. I was diagnosed about 4 years ago, and I've been kind of like self-medicating and figuring out what works for my body from like a fitness perspective and eating right. Cause you probably intake, 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. That's what I used to. How much?
Man, I say like around about 3,000.
Oh, that's not bad. All right, cool. That's legit.
I don't eat a lot, man. I don't. People think I do, but that's crazy.
You look, well, you probably a lot more lean meats and cows, as opposed to like your macros are pretty clean. I'm sure it's not like you're intaking a lot of carbs and brown rice and shit. Like you're keeping it low key, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much still the same, man. Like, and my build, just give people kind of a clue of what I look like. My build is about 5'9.5", 5'10". Weight is 180. Body fat, last time I checked, man, it's always pretty much under 10. Say right now it's probably about 8 to 9% right now.
Way to rub it in, bro.
What's up?
I said, way to rub it in.
Hey man, I gotta throw it out there, man. That's hard. I work for it, so
I'm my man. I love it, dude. And it's because I was never in your shape by any means, because I partied too much. And you can ask Justin and Emily about that. But but for me, dude, like I went from cranking out, I was about 185 in my prime, and I was cranking out probably about 4,000, 5,000 calories a day. But I'm glad you say you don't intake a lot, because that's going to prove my point here, which is 10 years ago, we looked at training way different than we look at it now. And the way we eat is such a huge part of, staying fit, that when people ask me, hey man, why are you vegan? And I go, well, it's because of my health issues. Like, oh, I should try that. And I go, why should you try that? Well, because I watched this documentary. I go, careful. You're starting to. This is the thing that people fall into with eating as well as fitness. Going back to those influencers where they say swipe up, and for me with Crohn's disease, I got to be careful with how active I am because more stress on my body could create an episode. So I can't do the hardcore HIIT training that these folks are recommending, or I can't do X amount of cardio. And like my neighbor, I'm writing something up for him. The first thing I asked him is, give me your blood work. Give me any injuries that you've had in the last 10 years. What'd you do before? Like I'm asking all these questions. Yeah, dude. So these are all things that you have to know. You can't just send out a fucking blog post and say, hey, for sure you're going to lose weight this way, because there's so many variables. And I think like 10 years ago, again, we weren't taught that way. When I was training, it was, but now it seems like it's getting more and more cookie cutter and more laxy daisy. And it's such a huge, important part of your daily routine that people got to be careful of not to fall into these trends.
Man, that's tough right now.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the influencers, they're pretty much saying like, swipe up. They're basically, it's like, it's kind of weird to like explain it.
Yeah.
Because like, as I look at it now and I like step back, I'm like, yeah, being a fitness influencer would be cool. But like, I don't really want to be on social media, man. I just want to run a business.
That's right.
Like, I don't like, that's cool and all, but how it's being, the persona of it now. Yeah. I don't want to be a part of that, honestly. Because it's all literally like, put out a couple workouts, everybody gets the same workout.
Yeah. There's no personalization to it.
Yeah. No, there's none. And it's like, for me, that's why I got into training, is to connect with people, because I knew how big training was for me. I didn't look at it as a money scheme. It's never been I can make a lot of money doing this, because I can make a lot of money doing anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I looked at it as, this is my passion. Like, to give you a little backstory of really the real reason I got into fitness, man. I had an uncle who, take it back. I played sports growing up, from the age of 6 to like high school. And I got into weightlifting my 9th grade year. So I did weightlifting my 9th grade year, 10th grade year. I actually went to state my junior year. I placed fourth. I was like, I'm gonna come back and win, because it was like getting fun to me. I started like my junior year, my senior, my sophomore year, going into my junior year. Like, I started hitting crazy numbers. Like, so I'm like, I'm getting strong now. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. So, I'm like, I'm going to state. I'm gonna win. It is what it is. So, man, I ended up breaking my leg. I broke my tibial. Yeah, my senior year, 2 weeks before my football season. So,
well,
I had a scholarship.
What position were you? Running back, wide receiver?
Yeah, I played slot.
Oh, you slot receiver. Yeah, right on. I can see that. Yeah, because your height, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of was like a hybrid player.
Right.
So I'm committed. I get hurt. They're like, we see the injury. They're like, first they asked me for the X-ray. Send the X-ray. Never heard back from them. So I'm like, yeah, my scholarship's gone.
Where'd you get a scholarship?
Stetson.
Oh man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is.
Yeah.
Like, I look at everything happens for a reason. So I was never mad at the time, because I'm like, this happened for a reason. I don't know what. Like, that was always my mindset with it. Like, yeah, God, I believe in God. So that was always big for me. Like, just
you gotta trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, what's up?
No, I was gonna say that it reminded me of something where I forget who said this, but it was a great quote. It might have been Anthony Hopkins, I think. And he said something in an interview. They go, "Do you have any regrets or disappointments?" He goes, "No. Yeah, I don't have any regrets, because the past is the past. You came into this world with nothing. You're gonna leave this world with nothing. Everything that happens in between is a bonus. It's all positive, because because we couldn't be here. Like, there's a reason we're here. So anything that happens to you in this life is positive, because
positive. You woke up this morning.
You woke up this morning. Like, it's all good.
You know what I'm saying? But
So
like
that's a
when I
good way to
wake up
look
in
at
the
it.
morning, man, I jump out of bed.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, getting back to the story though, I like that you
Mhm.
said that though. I definitely like that you said that. But get back to the story though. So yeah, like I was saying, man, going into my senior year, broke my leg, this, that,
Mhm.
lost a scholarship. Um, so this is like the time I went into. I would say I really did go into depression. So I did keep the mindset of everything was great, you know, but it was also why me.
Right. Takes a lot
I
out of you.
did have those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have those moments where I why me, but push through that. I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna win state this year. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna win state. I'm gonna go win state for
Nice.
weightlifting. So I had 8 months. I won state 8 months after I broke my leg with a rod, two screws, and a plate in my leg.
Damn.
Yeah. So during that time though, I had a uncle, 40, 43, no 44 when he passed away. One of his arteries exploded.
Oh shit.
At 44, that's young.
Yeah. Fuck
But
yeah.
once again, it was like the lifestyle. He didn't live a bad lifestyle, but it was enough to where I could see. I was like, yeah, no, I got to change that. It was like
Right.
my family already had a history of high blood pressure.
Oh.
So, with that being said, my dad, he's on high blood pressure medicine. Not anymore, but he was. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I see, if I don't get things straight with fitness, if I don't keep this going,
Right.
I see this trend. So, when that happened, that hit me deep, and that actually pushed me to win state. So,
Wow.
that was really my intro into fitness. Like I was like, I have to be. I'm not gonna say I have to be this healthy person that eats, white rice, chicken, and vegetables
Right.
7 days a week, but I'm gonna do it in a way to I can influence the ones that are around me and the ones that I care about and anybody I can touch, to push a healthier lifestyle.
That's huge, man. No,
Yeah.
that's huge. And my story's kind of similar too. And obviously, I didn't pursue personal training after my 5 6 years doing it. But
Mhm.
my father, my whole family, my grandmother died of type 2 diabetes.
Mhm.
Most of my family has a history of diabetes or has it now. And that's what kind of motivated me because I was pretty heavy as a child. Uh, I've never shared a picture since social
Mhm.
media has been a thing, but my wife has seen it and she laughs every time. And I still have a whole photo album of it. But when I was a
Yeah.
kid, I was definitely a porker. And what kind of motivated me to get into fitness is because I didn't want to live that lifestyle, and I didn't want to have any diseases that could be related to nutrition and working out. And to your point, to get people, that's a big reason why I do this podcast is to talk about not just veganism, but just, eating healthy for whatever you are and having people like yourself on to give knowledge. And because obviously I don't know everything and I'm never going to know everything. And I think the more we share and connect and we talk about these different things to be healthier, because it's so interesting. What I love about this podcast and everybody I have on it, I'm like almost 120 episodes in, I think. And
Mhm.
people love to talk about so many different topics, right? Like
Yeah.
politics, religion, um, domestic abuse, bad
Mhm.
relationships, gossip with friends, their shitty boss. Like people love to blab and love to talk, but
Yeah.
not a lot of people talk about fitness and health. Like it's just kind of this thing where, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it takes a very strong-willed person to do it, but everything else I mentioned prior to literally has no effect on your life. Like if your boss is a dick, you're either going to get fired or you're going to keep your job. Like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can't change who that guy is. He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
But your health, man, is something that could not just instill you a better life for the
Mhm.
50, 60, 70, 80 years you have on this earth, but it's going to make your family and friends happy because you're going to be, like you said, you're not going to be depressed. You're going to have a good appreciation for life.
Mhm.
Your spouse and your relationship is going to be better because you're going to be more active. You're going to be healthier and you're just going to feel better. It's natural. It's science.
Yeah.
You're going to feel
Overall,
better.
you're gonna feel better overall.
Yeah. It's just so funny that people, yeah, it is tough, and I get that, but it's the only thing really in your life that A, you can control, and B, makes positive results.
Exactly.
It's so
It's
crazy.
it's in your control.
It's in your control.
The one thing that's in your control, and you don't want to control it.
And you don't want to do it. But then you want to bitch. But you want to bitch when your jeans don't fit and you're depressed and you can't get up in the morning. Well, there's a reason you can't get up in the morning. But
it could have been stopped, a couple years ago. But
that's right.
And that's another thing, man. You actually brought up the type 2 diabetes and just health problems. So with me working in the hospital, man, I started off working as a transporter, man. So I was going and taking patients to their tests. I'll go pick them up in their room. Well, I would go walk to their room, introduce myself, this, that, and the third. Basically transport them to whatever test they had to go to. So like a X-ray, CT test, or if they were going to surgery. Like, so that right there, man, I worked there for probably about 6 months before I, got a chance to move up into another position. Man, that 6 months was probably the most eye-opening time of my life.
Oh, because you probably saw so many people come and go, yeah.
Man, that was tough, and I'm like, yeah, I do not want to be in here. Any way I can stay out of here, and any way I can get like the people that are around me, or anybody, like I said, anybody I can touch, anybody that I can get a hold of to not be in this hospital, I'm gonna try. Like that has been my goal to just try to keep people out of the hospital. Yeah, because it can be prevented. A lot of these things and a lot of these people I talk to, hey, how you doing? First thing they tell me, take care of your body. That's one of the most common things. Every person I've talked to in that hospital, patient wise, take care of your body, man. You don't want to end up like this.
That's right.
Take care of your body. Take care of your body. It's always, it's always take care of your body.
Well, and I think we're getting, again, as humans, we're getting a little bit more intelligent, some of us anyway, and we're able to see, what we actually put in our food and the effects of it, and there is, but it's hard for people to grasp because, Fruit Loops are good, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like they're Fruit Loops with a nice 2% milk, a big old bowl with a big spoon, and it's good, man. And then 2 hours later having McDonald's, like I get it, it tastes good, but we have to get out of this habit of like, we know what hurts us, and we need to get out of this whole thing of what we put in our body, like you said, is extremely important, but us Americans in particular, the rest of the world not so much, but us Americans, we're so stuck in this, eat whatever we want, there's no consequence. Spend as much money as we want, there's no consequence. We're so greedy with everything. It's
with a lot of things.
With a lot of things, man. It's so crazy. What can we do? Like, what if you're talking to me and I'm an average Joe Schmo? Like, what are you telling me, Jakobie? What can I do to get my shit together?
Like, just to get your shit together and overall.
Yeah, man. Like eating right, getting motivated. I don't work out every day. Like, what can I do to day one turn it around?
Day one turn around. I would tell you to find out who you are. Sit down with yourself and really find out who you are. Find out who you want to become. Write that stuff down. Write down whatever you're thinking. Write it down. The goals that you have. I would say start with goals. So short, medium, long.
Nice.
And just ask yourself, are you happy where you're at? And there's 3 answers. There's yes. If you say yes, I can't help you.
Yeah.
If you say no, I can help you work. And if you say you're gonna have people that third answer is that I can help you.
Yeah.
Kinda, I can help you. Yeah. Man, and just believing in yourself. That's one of the biggest things, man, is believing in yourself. Because we can do anything we put our mind to. And
that's right.
When we say put our mind to, it's really focusing. We're gonna have everybody's gonna have obstacles. That's human. Like that's just nothing's perfect. So we're gonna have those obstacles. We just gotta keep pushing and keep knowing that better days are coming, knowing that as long as we're working. Look at the shirt I got on right now. Faith without work is dead. So
like
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We keep the faith and we put in the work. I feel like anything's possible, man. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Keeping that positive attitude. That's number one.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're on this earth, that's a man, that's big. I feel like that's the
Yeah, dude.
biggest gift you can get.
Yeah, man, you're in the black. You're out of the red now. Like it's all
Mhm.
positive. You know,
Yeah.
it's if you're on this earth, everything's literally it is downhill from here. You know, that's how you got to look at it in my eyes, really. I mean, you know, if you got a 1 bedroom apartment somewhere,
Mhm.
be blessed. If you got a nice two
Yeah.
bedroom two bed, be blessed. If you're in a relationship, be blessed. Like you got to wake
Mhm.
up every day with some appreciation for life, and I think all that has to like boils down essentially to we always think the grass is greener. Maybe that's why we eat shitty food and we try out new restaurants is because we want to try new stuff. And
Mhm.
it's hard for us to get caught in routines. And maybe that's why we spend money because we
Mhm.
hate looking around and seeing the same stuff. Maybe we want something new on Amazon. So we have to immediately go to it. Maybe we're so bored of the complacency of daily life.
And
But
that's
that's right. That's what I was gonna say. And then what you got to do to combat that is you got to reverse that switch and you got to say whatever is going on in your daily life, you got to appreciate it. You know, because there's some people overseas that don't have half the shit you have. You know, you're bitching about not you're about not having automated lights, and you need to hurry up and save because you need to make your whole home Alexa proof when
yeah.
fucking people overseas, man, don't even have lights, bro. Like there's a lot of countries that don't even know what Alexa is. Like,
Yeah. And you're over
what do you?
here like, and it's social media, man. That's another
You're
reason
right.
though. Back to the point where I was saying I never want to be like really big on it unless my positive message is being spread. That's the
Yeah,
only way I would want to be on there. But
that's right.
man, the influences on there is everything. Everybody wants to be like everybody,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
you're right.
it's such a tough place because it's like it's competition now.
Yeah,
Like man, I've seen it with friends. Like it turns into a competition because you're always gonna see the good on social media. You'll
yeah.
never see the hard work. You'll never see the sweat, the blood. You know, the tears. The tears are the big thing, the biggest
Right,
thing.
right.
You'll never, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You're never gonna see those things on social media.
yeah,
And I think that right there is kind of should be a wake up call for people.
yeah.
You know, it's not real. You have to get away from that. And I know COVID really brought social media a lot of attention. It brought a lot more time being spent on there.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, a lot more people finding these influencers to look up to.
Well,
But
and now they're in a routine, right?
yep, they're
Like
in that. Yeah.
when the pandemic hit, you woke up every morning, you didn't have anything to do. We were on lockdown, so immediately you grab your phone, and then you're on your phone for 4, 5, 6 hours. So now the pandemic's over, people are still stuck in that. Think about a year you were doing that
Yeah.
every day, grabbing your phone and looking at TikTok and Instagram, and you get accustomed to that routine. It's funny that people easily fall into that routine, but they can't go to the gym 3 times a week.
They
That's
can't, but if
interesting.
you look at their screen time, I bet you it's a lot.
That shit's
It's a
that
lot
shit's
more than
up.
20 minutes a day.
It is it
A lot
is so
more.
crazy, man. Yeah. And
Hey,
with social media, and I was talking to this a couple guests ago that I had on the show, where I was
mhm.
like, we forget sometimes when we look at these phones that, like, I don't know about you, but I don't spend a lot of time watching TV.
No.
Um, my day is I work from home. I'm looking at a lot with computer screens and emails stuff like that. But more often than not, I maybe spend an hour a day watching TV, and that's at night, usually during dinner or before we go to bed or something.
Mhm.
Um, but I was telling this to my buddy on the show a few weeks back, and I'm like, listen, bro, because he's big into social media and he's on it all the time. And he's got kids and shit, and I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, you forget sometimes when you grab this little device, try thinking of it like a TV, because the TV took over radio,
Yeah.
right? There is no
Mhm.
more radio, and
No.
our phones are taking over the TV. Like, so you wouldn't spend 6 hours a day watching TV, would you? Maybe some people say yes to that, but more often
Yeah.
than not, you probably won't. But you're okay
Mhm.
with 6 hours a day on this. And that's what
Yeah.
this is, man. This is a little miniature reality TV. You know what this is? This is Kim Kardashian's and the Kardashians, Keeping Up with the Kardashians for
Yeah.
6 hours a day. It's quote unquote fake reality TV where everything's filtered, everything's pretty, everything's mic'd up, everything's got the best aperture and, you know, the cool filters and all that. Like, that's what the phone is. And, you know, there's even something on your camera. I don't know if you got an iPhone. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So there's even something now, you know, that portrait mode, right?
Yeah.
So now you can even create, you go to portrait mode. There's like 6 different ways to do a portrait mode that enhances your picture before you even take it. So when you press it, the photo is like better than what you would actually filter it to. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so bro, without even taking a picture, we're already
Altering how
changing. It's like, what the fuck, dude? What is it going to be like in 10 years, man? I'm terrified.
Scary. Hey, I'm terrified too. Hey, man, I'm scared because, man, like I said, I'm 21, so I'm in this new coming generation, man.
Yeah, you're in it, bro. You're screwed.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm screwed, man. It's scary.
Me, I'm a grandpa, bro. Like me, I remember beepers and flip phones and no phones, and I remember when my training schedule, when I had to write out my clients, it was on a sheet of paper.
Hey, but that sheet of paper, I've done that. I use that method though.
Have you?
The
Good.
sheet of paper, I don't use it now.
Yeah, of course, right.
But like when I started off, man, I got a notebook because that was big for me to remember all my workouts too.
Same.
So like I would, and then I always been I'm not gonna say I've been a big planner, but I'm always trying to jot down my day, trying to guide my day, which way it's gonna go. And with training, you have to do that because if you're just no schedule training, I'm telling you, you're gonna run in circles, like circles. So that was big for me. So, and if I seen it, if I wrote it down, I would read it. I would just keep reading it over that day. I'm like, I got to do this, that, and the third. Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude.
So that's why I was saying I would tell you to start with, you know, if you were at rock bottom, I would tell you to start with writing things down.
Goals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something special about a notepad and pen, right? Like there's something, I don't know about you, but I do it occasionally with like my daily tasks, like for work. You know, because you remember I work for Monster, right? So I usually plan like a year out of my events and everything I have to do since I run the whole state. So there's just a lot going on, and there's only so many things you could throw in an email or a Word document, because then there's nothing tangible that you can see unless you open it, unless you click it and open it. But what I like about a notepad I always keep on my desk every morning is I'll write out what I have to do that day. And then if I don't complete it, I carry it on to the next day. So every day I have goals, essentially, of what I have to accomplish. Yeah. But there's something special, man, about writing it on paper and then when you complete it, crossing it off. Like with the pen. Dude, it hits way different, right? As opposed to just pressing delete. There's something special about it, and I think people don't do it enough. I think if people get back to like writing things out tangibly, and I think it makes us more intelligent. I don't know the science behind it because I'm not a neurologist, but there's got to be something that happens to your brain and your receptors that fire off when you like, because remember, your brain's telling you to write things.
Exactly.
And, you know, but when you're typing, there's got to be less work for the brain because it's got to. Yeah, right? It's got to be automatic.
Autocorrect, you know, when you're typing, autocorrect's on, so it's going to fix anything that you messed up. You're not going to go back, and you're just going to keep typing.
That's right.
And most people are going to finish whatever you're typing before you even finish it.
That's right. Yeah.
So
well, even
when you're writing, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, even Google now, I don't know if you noticed, but it will predict what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Like when you're writing an email, and then you could press the arrow button, and it'll fill a whole sentence for you. Like if you say, Jakobie, yeah, dude, it'll say, Jakobie, thanks for, and then it'll say, seeing you today. And you press arrow, and then it fills, and I'm like, holy shit, it just did everything for. Eventually, it's going to get to the point to where all I got to do is say, th, and it'll fill everything. Like, come on, man.
Already have you read?
Yeah, dude, that's going to make us less intelligent for sure.
Oh yeah, man, I see it. I see it now. Dude.
Oh, we definitely see it now. Thank you, social media, for making it visible to all the people that, You know for
Yeah.
sure using autocorrect. Well, it's interesting too, like when you meet people in person versus like social media, especially as I'm doing this podcast, more often than not, like I think you're one of the few ones maybe this year that I've done, because we hung out once at UFC with the girls, right? And Justin and Emily.
Yeah.
So I met you once, and then we do this, but most of the time I do the podcast without even meeting them, without even seeing them. And I'll reach out to them in the DM, or they'll reach out to me. It all goes down to DM. And
Yeah.
then I'll end up doing a podcast with them, and then I'll meet them in person. But it's funny how it's interesting, but it's weird in person because they're different on the podcast and social media than they are in person. Like a lot of people, right? Maybe like a lot of your friends or my friends, where it's a different world, man. Like you see them on social media, and then you're like, oh, okay, you're this and this and this, and then you meet them in person, you're like, wait a minute, did Instagram just autocorrect everything on that post for you? Because you're not that intelligent. Like it's like once you talk to them, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's different. You're like, man, wait. Not even gonna say anything. Yeah, definitely, man. Social media and I've met a lot of people, you know, from social media. It's changed. It's changed people, man. Yeah, it's different.
And, you know, keep in mind, this is not a podcast to bash social media. This is a podcast, however, to, you know, tell people living a healthier and a more sustainable life. And I just don't know that social media is the right way to go. You know, I think we're listening and watching people that maybe aren't their true self. There's no personal touch. They don't know your name. But social media is also great because, you know, like, I've tried a bunch of protein recipes and I got that shit from TikTok. Like it's awesome. There's a lot of pros to it. You know, I've decorated half my house and I learned it on YouTube or TikTok. I mean, there's a lot of great benefits, but I think we got to be careful when we're listening to advice that really could change our life.
Yeah, most definitely.
And we're listening to people that. Right, exactly. And, you know, even with the, I mean, you don't have to say, but like I'm fully vaxxed because I kind of have to be with work. I chose to be because there's some stipulations that are in place that, you know, because I do events, I want to make sure everyone around me is safe. So I chose to get vaccinated. But, you know, it's funny that a couple of my friends were shocked on that. They go, I can't believe you got vaxxed up. And I go, why? They go, well, didn't you hear about this and this and this? And I go, I mean, yeah, sure. I heard about that. But I also heard that, you know, the earth is flat. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of things. Like, I heard Michael Jackson was at the mall the other day. Like, who cares? Like, whatever. Like, you hear a lot of things. It doesn't mean, right? I mean, opinions aren't the facts. Yeah. Right? So I got vaccinated because I talked to my doctor, who I'm trusting that they're more knowledgeable than me. And they recommended that, you know, at my age and my conditions that I get vaccinated. So, of course, I did it. I didn't get vaccinated or not get vaccinated because of someone on social media. So I think that's where it gets kind of funky. Is like, these are big decisions that you're making, and we're getting more and more comfortable with it.
Yeah, relying on social media to give us those answers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Instead of doing our own research.
Right. And, you know, I'm not a fan of, you know, news, like how we get our news now. I mean, there's a lot to be said about that, but that's kind of like a form of social media too, because they're just trying to get some clickbaity shit. So it's not just like Instagram and Facebook, but it's the CNN, it's the Fox, it's the, you know, I think people, whether it's on this little screen or the big screen, unless they're a trained physician or doctor or they're expert in that field, I'm not sure if we should be listening to them.
Yeah,
you know,
most definitely.
And we gotta be careful.
That's where, like we said, you know, what we consume is, and that's the thing, we can choose what we consume. Right. That's the key. That's the one thing, you know, like you said, that. we can control what we do.
Yeah.
And
people,
you know,
people
that goes
forget
to
that.
Fitness. They forget that, and it takes nothing. You don't like something, or you disagree with something on online. Unfollow. Unfollow everything that is negative and everything that you're not comfortable with on social media.
Mm.
If you know that's not you, but you're trying to make it because you see other people are influenced by it, so now you're influenced, that's not you. Unfollow. It's simple,
Yeah,
and that's what I've actually, been practicing. Just how has this benefited me? Oh, if it's not, okay, bye.
that's
You got
right.
I'm gonna replace it with something that's gonna benefit me.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm looking.
that's such good advice, man. Is don't be afraid to click the unfollow button. I like that.
Oh, never. And it's like
Yeah.
it could be a friend. It
Sure.
can be family. And that's the thing. That's where that social media bind comes in because social media is not real. Just because I unfollow you on social media doesn't mean I have a problem with you.
Right.
So,
I
you
have your
know,
number. I could text you. It's not a big deal.
I can text you. Yeah, I see you in person, still high fives and giggles, but just what you're putting out is not what I want to consume.
That's right. And if people are like, well, how do I want to get ideas from here and there and do this. And here's a great example, as you were saying that I just thought of this, where it's like, I'm married, right? You met the wife, Brenda.
Yeah.
So I'm married. When we started dating and I was going to propose, I had to unfollow every single hot influencer chick with a great ass on my
Hmm.
Instagram. I had
Hmm.
to. Not because I needed to, because she told me to. I
Yeah.
did it because I didn't want to be consumed with that content, because it would either A, make me think the grass is greener, it would give me negative thoughts maybe that I wouldn't want, maybe I would compare them to my wife. I was just kind of thinking long term, where that's just not healthy for our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to look at everything, to where temptation, and you know this, right? You're a man of faith.
Hmm.
Temptation, man, is a very powerful thing, and it could lead to a lot of evil.
It can.
And we just got
Definitely.
to be careful with not just chicks with nice asses if you got a spouse, but you also got to be careful with negative people, like you said. I mean, if there's someone that is preaching negativity and they're complaining about their work,
All
unfollow
the
them right
time.
away, right? Because
Yeah.
next thing you know, you might be complaining about your work and you won't know why. You're like, why am I complaining? It's because 10 of your friends hate their job, so that negativity is oozing onto you.
Yeah, because you never hated your job. You thought you had the best job.
Until I hung out with fucking Gary at FedEx, whatever.
Yeah, he told me that he complains. I have to hear him talk about it 5 days out of the week, how he hates his job. Should I hate my job now too?
That's right. It's like, oh, Gary's got a great point. Yeah, my boss is an asshole too. Yeah, dude, it's there's a lot of toxic shit out there, and I think the more we consume ourselves with positivity and health and happiness and all that, the more it's going to
Hmm.
create a routine for everybody. So
Oh yeah, man. Positivity and just that's something you can choose. You can choose to be negative, but you can choose to be positive.
that's right.
Every morning you wake up, like we said, your eyes open. That's a blessing. Be positive about that.
That's right, man.
Go make the most out of the day. It might be something little, but as long as you, like you said, you cross it out, that's a win. That's a win for that day.
That's a win, man. And I love the
And
little wins. I'm starting, especially with the pandemic, I really
yeah,
started appreciating the little wins because I was so bored,
yeah,
like not doing anything. So like
yeah,
little things around the house, like I ended up doing like my backyard, and I ended up hanging up some, uh, I forget what you call them, but they're like the racks in the garage. They're like
yeah,
big shelvings that you put on the studs. So I put all like our totes and the ladders and all that. So I expanded my garage gym,
yeah.
and I made that even bigger. But that was like a little win. It wasn't that big of a deal. It took one day, but it made the gym bigger. It made me more positive. And I didn't know it, but like little things like that, just stuff doing around the house that's gonna make you happy, man.
Little win.
Dude,
They add
those
up.
things are a big deal. They add up, man. Yeah,
That's
positivity, and that's right, dude. That's right. So, I didn't realize this. We're almost at an hour already.
hmm.
Time flies in here, man. This is like a time warp in here. But
I see.
let me. I do want to ask you one thing
Uh,
before I let you go. So, again, we talked about this a little bit in advance. But if there's someone that they're struggling maybe to get into a fitness routine, whether that's with maybe going to a gym or not going to a gym, um, if they want to work at home, maybe they can, maybe they can't. What do you think like is best practice to get on the bike and start pedaling? Like, what can that person do to get more healthier right away? Who should they talk to? Like, what would be your advice right there?
My advice would be always advise people for like since I've had my share of bodyweight training now, bodyweight. That's what I'm always gonna offer first because you can't go wrong with bodyweight.
Love
You
it.
you you can't, man. It's something you can wake up and you can do in the morning and you can do at night. It's something you don't need a lot of space for. 30 and it literally 30 minutes of your day you do the right exercises. It can be beneficial. It can be so beneficial for you. You know, just
And
moving, stretching your body, and then like I said, just body weight training starting out. Um, I would say if you're serious about your training and you know what training you want to get into, YouTube is YouTube and Google is everybody's best friend. And
yeah,
I would say look up that exact training. Like let's say you want to get into CrossFit, for example. You've looked up training. Okay, this is the style of training you want to do. Go and find 10, maybe like 10 people, the top people that do CrossFit or like the most views or whatever on YouTube, and watch, study it. Make sure it's something that you really want to do first. Then I would say try it. If not, don't be afraid to try new styles, different
mm,
things. Find what works for you.
I like that.
So there's various training methods, man. I would say really find what works best for your body.
Yeah,
What's
and I
healthiest.
yeah, and I don't think there's a right or wrong. As long as you're doing the exercises properly. That's
Mhm.
one thing that's different now than what it was when I was training people. Is like we were to like hit training, bro.
Yeah.
Like that we never did 15 years ago. We were always told if someone wants to lose weight, when you get certified, they're like, okay, you do low weight, high
Hmm.
reps.
Yeah.
Like body weight training and shit. Fuck,
Yeah.
dude, we never talked about that. But now that's
Yeah.
all I do. I do kettlebells, maces, clubs, and I do a lot of
Hmm.
hit training. A lot of it. I mean, I probably do that 3 or 4 times a week, and I'll supplement that
Man.
with cardio like jump ropes and burpees, and a lot of planks, a lot of
Yeah.
yoga. Like I'm into that type of stuff now. But with 15 years ago when I was training people, man, people were getting results doing the sessions that I was doing. But if I knew what I knew now, then
Mm.
forget it, dude. It's a different
Game
world
over.
now. Yeah, game over. And I think we have so much information at our disposal now, and there's so
Yeah.
many great minds behind like the science and the inner workings of fitness and how to
Hmm.
train properly. There's so much stuff out there. There's really no excuse for someone not to get started. It's so
There's
easy,
no
dude.
excuse, man.
It's
It's
just that first step.
look, look in the mirror.
That's it, man.
Ask yourself that question, man. Are you happy?
Look
Are
in the
you happy
mirror.
with yourself? If it's a no or if it's an eh, you need to work. You need
I
to
love
work,
that.
man. If it's a yes, then if you're firing on all calibers and it's a yes, then keep it rolling. But if it's a yes, as in, I mean, if it's a no, you're not happy, and you can't do it by yourself, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to people.
Yeah, that's
Help.
right.
Yeah, get help, man. Get help.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say to that is if someone doesn't respond to you and you're
Mhm.
reaching out to them, then that person doesn't care about your health and wellness, and unfollow that person.
Yeah, let it go.
Yeah, let it go. Because one thing I did notice is a lot of people forget the term personal trainer.
Hmm. That first
Personal
part.
trainer.
That
So
first part.
that's it, man. So if someone's giving you some advice and they don't care about you, most likely they don't care about you. So
Yeah.
it's important to get that one-on-one personal interaction. And
Yeah.
for people that do want to follow you, of course, I'll leave your links in the description of the podcast episode and stuff. But what's your Instagram? You got a YouTube? Like, what's all that about?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Jakobie. That's JAK. It's gonna be a 0BIE. So that's my Instagram. Twitter _Jakobie. Um, YouTube. It's gonna be Jakobie. I'm trying to think. That's pretty much. I'm pretty much just on Instagram for right now.
That's all
But you
you
guys
need.
can follow me on there, and I'll continue to expand.
Nice, dude. Well, listen, Jacoby, man, I took some of your time. There's a lot more we need to talk about, so I'd love to have you back on the show sometime.
Most
And
definitely, I appreciate it, bro.
yeah, man, no, it's been a pleasure, and we'll definitely, hopefully, I'll make it up to Jacksonville one of these times. I got a few events coming up, towards the back half of the year, but Yeah, we had a good
Yeah.
time up there, so we'll definitely make it up there again.
Man, I can get out there to you, man. You let me know.
Hey, man, I got some crazy stuff down here in Tampa, man. I got a brand new brick oven pizza I built.
Uh-huh.
We can cook some nice pizza pie, have some vino, maybe do a little workout session in the garage, bro.
We can get it. Hey,
Didn't-
Dan podcast, first off.
That's it, and definitely not in that order. We'll probably do gym then pizza. That'll probably how it.
Yeah.
No, but dude, again, thanks for the time, man. I'll definitely reach out to you after this, and just keep getting it, man. I'm loving the content. Keep motivating people, man. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Likewise, Tony. It's been a blessing, man.
All right, my brother. We'll talk soon, man.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right, buddy.